Hello, tigers! How you doing today? If you are watching this video, it means that you are ready to record your podcast for your narrative short story. If that's the case, then stay tuned and listen up so you know exactly what you need to do. So, if you are ready to start your podcast, here's what you need to do. Whether you worked on a Chromebook or in a packet, go ahead and go to this page of your packet here. So, at this point, you got to make sure that you have your final draft of your story ready to go. This is your draft in its final form. The actual written draft is going to get turned into me and Miss H, but you're also going to need to start your podcast today. So podcasts are going to be recorded using an online voice recorder that you can access via your Chromebooks. If you're unable to do this recording in class, you do need to use your phone, an at-home computer, or the library computer to complete the recording outside of class. Once you're finished, you should save your recording to Google Drive and share it with me and my email address. And I can show you how to do this in just a minute. Your podcast is due on Monday. If it's Monday and you're watching this, your podcast is late. You gotta get it done. All right. You have two options for your podcast in terms of how you want to introduce your story. You know, if you've ever watched a YouTube channel, you know they have the little introductions at the beginning to tell you what their channel's about. We're going to do the same thing for your podcast. Now, I did you a favor and I came up with a generic introduction that you can use. In your generic introduction, you'll see here, you're going to say your name, the title of your podcast show, whether your story is true or fictional or a little bit of both, and finally, the title of your narrative piece. If you use this introduction, you can receive no higher than a proficient. Ding! So, for the generic introduction, it would sound a little something like this. Hello, my name is Miss Struck, and you're listening to my podcast, The Miss Struck Show. In this episode, I'll be sharing a narrative short story that I wrote for my 9th grade English class. This story contains the traditional elements of narrative storytelling and is based off true events. My story is called The Teacher Forgot Her Lunch. Enjoy! Once you create your generic podcast introduction, you would use that at the beginning of your recording. If you choose to challenge yourself and create your own introduction, you are eligible for an advanced grade on your podcast. Your introduction must include your first name, the title of your podcast show, and the title of your narrative writing piece. I would also like it to include a little bit of information about the story, just to give the reader a taste, or the listener a taste, of what they're about to hear. All right, so at this point, you have your final draft of your narrative story ready to read. You have the introduction for your podcast. It looks like you're ready to record. Once you're ready to record, on your Chromebook, you're going to go to a website called Online Voice Recorder. When you get there, you're going to make sure that you're using the beta version. And it'll look a little something like this. If you need help with this, let Miss H or I know. Now, in order to use the online voice recorder, all you're going to do is select this red button. Once you select this red button, it's going to ask if it can use your microphone, and it can. So see, as I talk, you can see the lines of my voice that are beep, 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 right here. My computer is picking up my voice as I speak because all of our Chromebooks have built-in microphones. If you're speaking and you notice that there are no lines showing up in this space, it means it's not recording your voice. When you record, if there's a lot of background noise, it picks it up on the recorder, and that's not fun for anyone to hear. So when you're recording your podcast, you're going to want to make sure you're in a quiet space where the only thing being picked up on your microphone is your voice. Once you're finished with your recording, you go ahead and hit this button here, and it'll ask you if you want to save your work. I'm going to click Save, and it'll download the file and ask if you want to save it as a file on your computer, or if you want to save it to your Google Drive. You're going to want to save it to your Google Drive. And if you want to do a test run with this a few times, you're absolutely able to. If you want to listen to your podcast and make sure you have the right recording that you want to send to Miss H and myself, take all the time you need. We're going to try to get as many recordings done in class as we can, but we understand that you might be doing this from home over the weekend. That's okay. Make sure that your podcast when you record it, includes your podcast introduction and then your story that you read from the beginning. Once you save your podcast to Google Drive, you're going to be sending it to Miss H or to me, ideally to me, and then I can share it with Miss H. So when you share your podcast recording from Google Drive, you're going to want to use my email address. It's struck, STRUCKME at milwaukee.k12.wi.us. And you know when we share anything from Google Drive, we click the share button, and it'll ask us who we want to share it with, and you'll make sure that you put my email address in that box. I know this was something new, and it's a lot of information, my Tigers. However, I have all the confidence in the world that you can create fantastic podcasts that we can share with our teachers, and hopefully even with our peers or with our parents or with whoever's at home, because I'm proud of you, and all of you have worked really hard to create incredible stories. So be proud of yourselves, create the best work that you can, and make sure that your podcast is ready to go on Monday. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or talk to me in class. Remember, Tuesdays and Thursdays are student support days. You can come in after school and get help with anything that you might have missed or that you might be confused about. Keep being rock stars, my dears. And remember, it's a great day to be a Tiger.